imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know?
There is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present.
Kamala Harris is a bully who's pushed out or made life intolerable for virtually every person who's come to work for her in the White House. She's the Megyn Markle of the administration. People can't work for her.
Megyn Kelly just did it again. That signature move where she strolls into political chaos, drops a blazing truth bomb, and walks off like she just won a debate nobody else was smart enough to attend. This time, her target is none other than Kamala Harris. And let's just say, it's not a pretty sight. From the awkward giggles to the verbal gymnastics, Megyn's got sass, receipts, and zero patience for nonsense. Buckle up because this one's about to sting harder than one of Kamala's famous word salads. And yes, it's every bit as messy.
Kamala Harris, who decided to pop up this week at the Leading Women Defined, what a terrible name for a summit, the Leading Women Defined Summit in California, and had this to say, SOT 26.
Each day in these last few months in our country, and it understandably creates a great sense of...
Kamala Harris, dumb as ever.
I mean, she looks drunk to me.
She always
I don't want
to
I don't want to throw around any crazy charges here, but that's not...
Before we move on, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, because trust me, you don't want to miss this madness. Kamala Harris was having one of those weeks again, the kind where even the teleprompter sighs before she does. The crowd looked lost, blinking in confusion, while her laugh echoed through eternity like a haunted ringtone from 2019. And just when it seemed things couldn't get any more awkward, Megyn Kelly stepped right into the chaos, ready to turn the confusion into pure entertainment.
Kamala Harris is having her moment in the sun. I heard you guys talking about this on your show. And she's in a great mood, and she actually has reason to be. Her books are selling fast, like wildfire. 350,000 copies sold so far, which is actually really good. I actually can't wait to see when she hits the New York Times bestseller list if she has the little asterisk next to her number, which not everybody knows means that you used bulk sales to get there.
Because apparently someone had to finally say what everyone was thinking. The Vice President of the United States has turned word salad into a full-time profession. And Megyn wasn't about to stay quiet. She didn't bring a shovel. She brought an excavator. She's been watching Kamala's public appearances like a scientist studying a hamster trying to open a jar. Fascinated, confused, and quietly wondering, is this really happening?
She can't do it. She cannot do it. She's desperately trying to be Oprah, and she can't be Oprah. And as it turns out, Oprah is kind of a psychopath. I'm going to do a piece on this at some point. Honestly, we were raised by wolves, those of us who watch that show religiously. I figured it out at 54. In any event, Kamala Harris is not even as good as the fake Oprah, never mind the real one. And I don't know, you guys, you seem to be very bullish on her newfound confidence and think that this sales number is going to encourage her to actually run again. I mean, I'll start with you on that, Andrew. Do you believe that?
Every time Kamala starts talking, somewhere an English teacher quietly cries into a red pen. The moment Megyn Kelly appeared, it was like someone flipped the lights on at the end of a very strange party. The music stopped, the laughter faded, and there stood Kamala, holding a metaphorical martini glass filled with mixed metaphors, half-finished thoughts, and motivational gibberish. It was the kind of scene that makes you wonder how anyone's still clapping.
About how they vote.
Back to me. If we could just bring it back to me. I was the first here in the first day. I was the second there, but then I was the third, and then I was the first, and then I almost became the first this, but I was like, this is how leftists think. It's like, I would be humiliated. I really would. If I were Kamala Harris, I'd be like, look, there was a time in this country when that was at the forefront of people's minds. We're past that time. Look at my stellar resume. Thanks to this great country, I've achieved all. No, she can't do. I was first, then second, then I was first again, then I was.
Megyn simply pointed and said what millions had been too polite to admit. This isn't deep, it's just dizzying. Kamala's got a special gift. While most politicians connect through ideas, she connects through confusion. She starts a sentence like a rocket launch, but halfway through, the rocket remembers it left the oven on and starts spinning in place. It's like watching GPS directions argue with themselves. Turn left. No, right. Actually, just laugh awkwardly until everyone forgets where we were.
I mean, I love it. I want it, but why?
I think, well, all politicians operate inside a bubble, and in her bubble, this reinforces the view that she's still anointed, and she will go forward, and I think she will run again. I think the Washington Post, though, had a great. They said her book tour is even less compelling than her campaign. I think sort of describes it. It's been a shock to me. I will say this. I have not read the book. I've read the excerpts that were in the Atlantic, and I've read about it. And it does seem there's some juicy tidbits in the book, and maybe it's a better book than.
And Megyn, oh, she wasn't having it. She's seen chaos before, debated political gladiators, and walked straight through media firestorms, but absolutely nothing could prepare her for the linguistic origami that Kamala calls communication. It's not that Kamala's words don't make sense. It's that they make the wrong kind of sense, like poetry written by a malfunctioning Roomba. Every time Kamala opens her mouth, the internet braces for impact. Clips flood in, edits explode on TikTok, and 1,000 new memes are born. Elon Musk probably sighs somewhere, realizing he'll have to block Kamala bot parody accounts again. Kamala's mastered the art of saying things that sound meaningful if you squint hard enough. We work together, because working together works best when we work together. Megyn didn't even need to roll her eyes. She just sliced through the nonsense with surgical precision, calling out every improvised sentence like it was a live comedy show gone wrong.
Here, as you know by this point, is how she handled it in her debate with a very polite, though appropriately interruptive, Mike Pence. I mean, it's a debate, so you're allowed here and there to say, I don't think so, or yo, that's not right. That's appropriate debate behavior, but not to Kamala Harris, who wants you to know when she's speaking.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
And the wild part? Kamala doesn't even notice. She steps up to the podium, smiles like she's about to change history, and launches into another paragraph that sounds like an AI trying its best to be human. Megyn compared her to a motivational speaker, stuck in a feedback loop, endlessly promising progress while explaining absolutely nothing. It's as if Kamala learned politics from fortune cookies arguing with each other. The strangest part, Megyn pointed out, is how the media keeps pretending it's brilliance. Every time Kamala says something incomprehensible, a panel of pundits nod like they've just heard Socrates reincarnated. She's redefining leadership, they say, while Megyn sits there wondering if anyone in the room still understands English. Kamala's behind-the-scenes image is pure comedy gold. You can almost picture her team praying before every speech. Megyn called it the Kamala paradox. The more she talks, the less you understand. Yet somehow you keep listening, hoping one day it'll finally make sense. But it never does.
I have to get back to Kamala because she went on The View this morning, and it's amazing. It's amazing. You know, like, leftists are going to leftist. Here is SOT 52.
A lot of people, I'm included, and President Biden also, think that a lot of it is about racism and sexism. And those are the reasons that you really lost, not because of the time thing. What do you say to that? Do you think this country will ever elect a woman president? In my lifetime, probably not.
I beg to differ. I believe that we will.
Then came the knockout moment. Megyn compared Kamala's leadership style to a GPS that refuses to admit it's lost. Recalculating, it says cheerfully. Right before driving straight into a river, Kamala just smiles, waves, and insists everything's going exactly as planned. America just has to believe harder. It's almost admirable, really. Kamala has mastered the art of saying nothing with absolute conviction. Her speeches feel like TED Talks written during a caffeine overdose. Every gesture rehearsed, every smile timed, yet the words are like decorative confetti. Colorful, shiny, but meaningless once you try to clean it up. Megyn exposed how the administration seems terrified to let her speak unsupervised. Every appearance feels less like diplomacy and more like damage control. The world watches politely confused as she explains root causes, sounding like a life coach who lost her way to therapy. And Megyn, in her signature style, dropped the punchline. If anyone else spoke like this, would they still have a job?
I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I did not think she was an idiot. I now think she's a moron. She's not that smart. Forgive me. I'm still one of those people who gets wooed by titles. I'm like, she was the Attorney General of the state of California. You know, like, how dumb could she be? Like, dumb. The answer is very, very dumb is the answer. And I've come to that conclusion just with my own eyes and ears from watching and listening to her. She cannot put two sentences together. I mean, the old man is actually losing his mental faculties.
And then Megyn went straight for the jugular, Kamala's infamous laugh. That giggle that starts nervous and ends sounding like a system reboot. It's become her political trademark. Part coping mechanism, part panic button for runaway sentences. Megyn pointed out that no world leader should sound like they just got caught sneaking out of detention. That laugh has united both sides of the political spectrum, not in agreement, but in shared disbelief. Translators have probably given up mid-sentence trying to decode her press conferences. Megyn compared her speaking style to modern art. Everyone insists it's profound, but all you see is chaos. Maybe, Megyn joked, there's simply nothing to get. Kamala's speeches are like jazz, confusing, unpredictable, and somehow still ending in applause. Megyn highlighted how her approval ratings are dropping faster than her recycled metaphors, and every attempt to reboot her image turns into another episode of "What did she just say?"
Whenever she does speak, it's so cringy. That remark about what's next, I'm going to walk up these stairs, is so telling. She's so dumb. She's just not clever. And this is yet another example that's making the rounds today. It's a flashback from just April, not that long ago, when she was asked by Spectrum News what it would do to race relations if Trump repeals some of these DEI policies that she and Joe Biden have infiltrated the entire government with.
I think it's really important that we as Americans always embrace our history, the parts that we're proud of and the parts that...
Then Megyn tackled the 2024 elephant in the room, Kamala's rumored presidential dreams. The thought of her leading the ticket, Megyn said, is like watching someone enter a spelling bee without knowing how letters work. She couldn't help but imagine the campaign slogans: hope, progress, word salad. It practically writes itself. Kamala's speeches always sound like she's unveiling some great secret, but the only revelation is that she has no idea what she's talking about. She uses pauses the way magicians use smoke, hoping no one notices the trick is empty. Still, Kamala insists everything's going perfectly, radiating confidence like someone bragging about winning a race they didn't even finish. The irony, Megyn added, is that Kamala could have been likable. She's charming, smart, and camera-ready. But somewhere between the slogans and photo ops, she turned into a walking philosophy class nobody signed up for. Megyn closed with a stinging truth. America doesn't need another motivational speaker. It needs someone who can actually finish a sentence that matters.
Person. And it concerns me because that's all we have in line on the Democratic side. And as Trump's numbers continue to go up and up and up, and I realize some of the polls are showing him beating Joe Biden now in a hypothetical matchup, he's still very vulnerable. He did not win in 2020, and it looks like it's going to be the same matchup. And honestly, Joe Biden's knocking on, the Grim Reaper's door, and she could be the president of the United States in the next 6 years by default, if things go, in a dark and upsetting way.
At this rate, Megyn warned, Kamala's legacy might just be making people nostalgic for silence. She pointed out a harsh reality. Kamala isn't underestimated. She's overestimated by people too afraid to admit she's in over her head. The longer everyone pretends her speeches make sense, the more the country starts sounding like it's in collective denial. Every time Kamala trends online, the internet braces for another viral clip of confusion. And there's Megyn, calmly sipping coffee, watching it unfold like a live sitcom. She's not mocking for laughs. She's diagnosing a political illness made of nervous laughter and circular sentences. Megyn didn't need rage or theatrics, just calm precision that peeled away Kamala's facade faster than her approval ratings. While Kamala keeps smiling through her word mazes, Megyn stands as the reminder that not everyone's fooled. And while the media calls it depth, Megyn's already moved on, shaking her head, wondering how long the nation can keep pretending the emperor's fully clothed.
Kamala Harris, let's face it, was a DEI hire as vice president and would have been a DEI hire had we voted her in as president. She was just in Australia, as an aside, this week because some real estate conference hired her to speak. She's represented by CAA here in America, one of the biggest agencies out there. And they're apparently having trouble finding jobs for her domestically because they had to ship her halfway around the world in order to get a paid gig. And I just want the audience to know, this is how she sounds. This is what they paid, I don't know how much for. She sounds just like Kamala Harris.
Meanwhile, Kamala continues her world tour of circular logic. waving, laughing, and explaining the meaning of the moment for the 100th time. Her team claps, the headlines spin, and somewhere, Megyn Kelly just smiles knowingly. Because once you've seen through the fog, you can't unsee it. One woman armed with questions, another armed with slogans. Clarity versus confusion, and it's not even close. Slowly, everyone begins connecting the dots. The endless speeches about possibilities start sounding less like leadership and more like a broken motivational podcast. You can almost picture her staff scrambling behind the scenes, desperately trying to explain what she meant to say. Like translators at the United Nations of Confusion. Meanwhile, Megyn just stands there, watching like a teacher who's seen one too many bad book reports. No yelling, no anger, just that quiet, knowing look that says, "Here we go again?"
Look, I am a woman. I have a daughter. I hate the fact that there's been no female presidents. I really do. I hate the fact that when you take out your little placemat, when your kids are learning the presidents, there's no female face on there, and then you have to explain why. It's effed up. I would love to see a female president, like a Margaret Thatcher type, somebody who's strong and serious and sober and respected. This ain't it. I am telling you, America is not going to elect this Nimrod as its first female president. I trust in them too much for that. They're not that dumb, and they're not that open.
She just smirks, because at this point, Kamala's predictability is almost comforting. You know exactly what's coming. An opening line that sounds profound, a dramatic pause, and a closing statement that says absolutely nothing. It's practically performance art. Her rhythm has become her signature. Start with confidence, spiral into confusion, then seal it all with that unmistakable laugh that echoes like an alarm clock nobody asked for. The crowd claps out of habit, and Kamala beams, blissfully unaware that she's become her own punchline. Megyn doesn't even need to exaggerate. The truth is funny enough. Every clip of Kamala feels like a blend of enthusiasm and confusion, like she's explaining something important to a classroom of invisible students. Megyn even joked that Kamala has perfected circular optimism, the ability to inspire absolutely no one while sounding like she's saving the world. It's a talent, really. Speaking for 10 minutes and leaving your audience knowing less than when they started.
Kamala lost because of Kamala. That is the subject of today's show. You know, I really thought that someone on the left would write this. I've been saying this, the true story of how Kamala Harris lost the presidential race. I thought that they would be so angry with her for losing to Trump that they would be clamoring to write the in-depth piece on how she blew it, you know, like journalists. Silly me. I thought we'd get to read all the juicy details about how this well-known bully who lost 92% of her staff as vice president because no one could stand working for her.
But what really gets Megyn, and honestly the rest of the planet, is that Kamala seems proud of it. She walks off stage like she's just delivered the Gettysburg Address, while her staff applauds, the media nods, and the internet collectively gasps. Then Megyn Kelly drops one flawless line that shatters the illusion. Maybe it's time to stop pretending this is brilliance and start admitting it's babble. The silence that follows says it all. Because deep down, everyone knows Megyn's right. It's not sexist, it's not political. It's just painfully, hilariously true. In the end, Kamala Harris doesn't even need enemies. Her biggest critic is her own sentence structure. And Megyn Kelly? She just gave the world permission to laugh about it. And that's what makes it legendary.